Good afternoon and welcome. This is Spotlight Africa, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of the Kwara State, Nigeria. I am Uya Imam. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. Today on Spotlight Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda to sign peace agreement on the 27th of June. Family of Zambia's ex-president Lungu holds return of his body. South Africa's firebrand politician banned from entering the United Kingdom. Kenyan police officer arrested for shooting unarmed man in the head. Plus, Sudan war fueled by external arms flow to the country. These stories are all just ahead on Spotlight Africa. Stay with us. First on Spotlight Africa, Congo and Rwanda will sign a peace agreement in Washington June 27. A joint press release from the nations of the United States Department said Wednesday. Both countries have agreed to the terms of the deal aimed at ending fighting in eastern Congo. Congo has accused Rwanda of backing M23 rebels in the east of the country. UN experts say the rebels are supported by about 4,000 troops from the neighboring nation. The decades-long conflict escalated in January when the M23 rebels advanced and seized the strategic Congolese city of Goma, followed by the town of Bukavu in February. The draft agreement includes provisions on respect for territorial integrity and a prohibition of hostilities, disengagement, disarmament, and conditional integration of non-state armed groups. Both countries have in the past held peace talks that have largely stalled, including talks hosted by Qatar. Cornel Naga, leader of the Congo River Alliance, a coalition of rebel groups, told the Associated Press in April that international sanctions and Congo's proposed mineral deals, I beg your pardon, with the United States in search of peace would not stop the fighting. M23 is one of about 100 armed groups that have been vying for a foothold in mineral-rich eastern Congo near the border with Rwanda. The conflict has created one of the world's worst humanitarian crises and has displaced more than 7 million people. In another development, the family of Zambia's former president Edgar Lungu has halted up a return of his body from South Africa, accusing the government of breaching key agreements over his funeral. The arrangement had been finalized and his remains were due to be flown back home on Wednesday on a private charter plane after days of uncertainty and negotiations between the family and the government. But the family has now stopped that plan, saying it finds it very difficult to believe that the government will stick to the end of the agreement. Zulu said the government had released a draft program of the funeral without consultation with the family. President Hakainde Hichilema was scheduled to receive the body upon its arrival at the airport in the capital, Lusaka. Meanwhile, the former president's body was set to be taken to his residence in Lusaka, where it would lie in state ahead of his state funeral on the 22nd of June and burial the following day. In an address from South Africa on Wednesday, Zulu said the government had deviated from the agreed program. Away from that, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has concluded his visit to the G7 summit held in Canada with the host nation, Canada, and worked on strategic alignment with other G7 members. Although highly anticipated and floated by Ramaphosa prior to the summit, a bilateral meeting between the South African leader and US President Trump did not take place. Reports say the meeting would have come as a potential opportunity to improve relations after a disastrous White House visit by Ramaphosa in May, during which Trump accused South Africa without proof of committing a genocide against white South Africans. Meanwhile, a controversial stifled democratic debate. Malema featured prominent civilian who was shot by police during the latest protest over the alleged killing of a blogger in police custody on Wednesday, demanded accountability for the violence. The 22-year-old Boniface Karuki, a hawker like his father, was holding a packet of face masks and is believed to have been caught up in a confrontation with two officers in Nairobi as hundreds of protesters clashed with police. One officer who had concealed his face with a mask shot him at close range in the head as he walked away. Tuesday's protest in the capital followed tensions over the death of the blogger Albert Owang, who was found dead while in custody at the Central Police Station. Owang was arrested June 6 in Western Kenya for what police called publishing false information about the top police official on social media. Police attributed his death to him hitting his head against the cell wall, but activists have questioned the cause of the death. A Kenyan police officer has been arrested over the shooting of an unarmed civilian on Tuesday during protests against pervasive police brutality and extrajudicial one of Nairobi's busiest streets, again outraging many Kenyans who have long witnessed officers shooting or beating protesters and others. A series of images taken by an Associated Press photographer show the moments leading up to the shooting, which was rare because the officer fired in full view of journalists. Photos show two posers he was selling to. Meanwhile, controversial Kenyan televangelist Gilbert Dia, who claimed he created miraculous pregnancies, has died in a road crash. Police told local media that Dia died on the spot on Tuesday evening after his vehicle was involved in an accident with a university bus and another vehicle near the town of Kisumu in western Kenya. At least 30 other people were reportedly injured, including a person identified as his wife and a passenger in his vehicle, and 15 students this time out. Thanks for staying tuned. And now to the rest of the stories on Spotlight Africa. Heavy fighting in Sudan continues to escalate as direct result of the continued flow of arms into the country, meaning that the war is far from over, top independent human rights investigators said on Tuesday. In an update on the emergency in the Northeast African nation, the Independent International Fact-Finding Mission for the Sudan highlighted the increased use of heavy weaponry in populated areas and a sharp rise in sexual violence. Humanitarian relief continues to be weaponized, and hospitals and medical facilities remain under siege, warned the investigators, whose mandate was established by the Human Rights Council in October 2023. Fellow investigator Mona Rishmawi insisted that testimonies gathered pointed to both sides continuing to commit war crimes, a reference to the Sudanese armed forces and the Rapid Support Forces, which turned on each other in April 2023, following a breakdown in transition to civilian rule. Around El Fasher, for instance, civilians have been assaulted, detained, and killed, while villages have been attacked, burned, and looted by the RSF. A last story today on Spotlight Africa sees a British woman who has died from rabies after she was scratched by a puppy in Morocco. Yvonne Ford, 59, from Bensley, South Yorkshire, had lost contact with the stray dog while on holiday in February in the North African country. In a social media post reported by the press, Ford's family said she developed a headache 2 weeks ago and later could not walk, talk, sleep, swallow. The UK Health Security Agency said there was no risk to the wider public due to no documented evidence of rabies passing between people. Ford was diagnosed at Bensley Hospital after returning to the UK. The hospital trust confirmed and was later transferred to the Royal Hallamshire Hospital in Sheffield. She died June 11. An inquest into her death opened in Sheffield on Wednesday. These are all the stories we're able to bring to you at this time, bring you stories all around the continent. Spotlight Africa has been brought to you by Spectrum Television. Do well to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. My name is Uyai MM. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good afternoon.